everybody. So, today we will finish the remaining part of the ligands, how we are classifying. So, it is part 3. So, the different classification what we have seen. Now, we will just talk about one of the important class what we find in the biology. So, if we deal with some, so we will be talking about so much about the different metal ions. So, these are the metal ions, corresponding metal ions in the living system. So, if we can have metal ions in the living system, then obviously we can have the corresponding ligands. So, what are those ligands that typically bind the metal ions which are available in the biological system? And most important class of ligands will all the time we will be talking about that if we have the corresponding amino acids, and all the amino acids as the name stands, they have all the time the corresponding amino function and the carboxy function. And we all know that if we have certain species, the NH2 function as well as COOH function, and if both the groups are participating to bind the metal ion, we basically get a ligand system which can be considered as enodonal ligand. And apart from that, this is the corresponding amino acid sequence. If you can have the long chain which is connected between this NH2 and COOH function, then we can have some pendant groups as well, which is the corresponding pendant group. So, if these basic amino acids as well as their condensed products, that means amides are there. So, apart from this, that means we have the NH2 functionality, then we can have the peptide backbone and the other in COH, and we can have these pendant groups P from here as well as pendant group from here, depending upon the corresponding availability of the amino acid sequence in the long polypeptide chain. So, we will find that if this particular system can have some interaction with the metal ion, then these NH2 group can start interacting. This pendant group with some nitrogen heterocycle or the carboxy end can also give some interaction with the metal center. The NH function of the amide group as well as the oxygen function of the amide group can also show some interactions. Similarly, the other P group as well as one of these oxygen of the carboxy end can show some interaction with the metal ion. So, strictly speaking, any biological system containing amino acid or amide or polypeptide can have some potential binding donor groups which can bind the metal ions very nicely. So, we will see that what are the different types of ligands we can have in the life processes. Very basic life processes are all dependent on the metal ions, and also they are dependent very much on the corresponding ligand system. since in this class we are talking about the corresponding different types of ligands what we can have and their corresponding availability to the metal center, which are available in life system in a very low concentration. So, the most important class of these apart from these amino acid and polypeptides, we can have the biological macrocycles, and this biological macrocycle can have of different types. One is of this type, which is basically a cyclic ligand where 4 nitrogen donor atoms are available and all 4 nitrogen donor atoms are connected within a big macrocyclic structure, and the metal ion will be sitting at the center of this cycle. So, this particular pentacyclic ring is the pyrrole ring, we all know. So, this pyrrole ring, when they are connected by some methine bridges, the CH bridge, these are all 4 CH bridges. So, when 4 pyrrole units are connected by 4 methine rings, we get the corresponding macrocycle, and this macrocycle is known as the corresponding tetrapyrrole macrocycle. So, biological system can have a tetrapyrrole system which is a tetrapyrrole system. So, we can have one pyrrole unit, another pyrrole unit, then another pyrrole unit and the fourth one. So, knowing that thing, that what we have seen, the terpyridyl, bipyridyl, triethylene, tetramine and so many types of ligands we have discussed so far, this immediately tells us that if all the 4 nitrogen donor atoms are utilized for metal coordination, we get a typically N4 tetradentate ligand system. So, this N4 tetradentate ligand system is suitably binding to the metal system in a planar arrangement. If this particular structure is planar one, so for any octahedral type of binding, which is a 3-dimensional binding, we can have nitrogen, nitrogen, nitrogen and nitrogen over here. So, all 4 nitrogen atoms, if they are connected, we get a tetrapyrrole unit, and if there is further coordination from the 5th coordination site and the 6th coordination site, like 2 donor groups like X and Y, we get a typical octahedral coordination around the metal center. If the metal center, what we are just seeing in the slide, that iron is there. So, if we consider that iron is present, so we can have a typical octahedrally coordinated center where only one ligand system is present, which is providing the N4 tetradentate coordination, and 2 monodentate coordinations are coming, which are in apical direction. One is perpendicular above the plane and another is below the plane, which are X and Y. So, giving a typical 6 coordinated geometry around this iron center. So, what we see that this particular iron, when we can have a large heterocyclic organic ring, we call this as the porphyrin. So, porphyrin is the unit which is present, and since it has biological origin, so the biologically this can be synthesized in our body also, in the human body also we can synthesize this particular unit from some amino acid residues, and these amino acid residues ultimately can give us some substituted positions. So, we can have this pyrrole unit, these two positions. So, all 4 pyrrole units can have 2 positions for regular substitutions, and all 8 positions are suitably substituted. So, after substitution we get basically a one type of porphyrin ring, and that particular porphyrin ring present is in one system and functioning for one particular reaction. And if we vary the substitutions, and instead of this methyl and vinyl groups, if we can have some other groups, these are the 2 propionic acid groups and these 2 are again methyl substitutions. So, if we just simply vary from all these positions, so substitutions can change the nature of the porphyrin and we get the corresponding porphyrin as porphyrin A, porphyrin B, and all these different types of nomenclature also we can make. So, we can have the basic porphyrin and then the suitable substitutions on that particular porphyrin can give rise to a system where we can have the corresponding different types of reactivities for their biological origin. So, when we have the simple porphyrin, and which is bound to Fe2, that means iron 2. So, in this plane basically what we get within this particular plane, we have, if we have the iron and when it is bound to this all 4 positions, we get the heme group. So, depending upon the nature of this porphyrin, we can consider as heme A, heme B, heme C, and all these. But the basic thing is that we have the porphyrin plus iron giving rise to the heme structure, and when the protein chain is coming, which is globin, and this particular globin is responsible for this coordination from this Y. So, the globin is basically responsible for coordination from Y, we get hemoglobin. Which is present in our blood, and hemoglobin is the molecule which is responsible for our oxygen trapping reaction. So, there are not only hemoglobin, but also we can have the myoglobin molecules, and they are all typically iron tetrapyrrole system. So, iron complex of the porphyrin ligand. So, iron complex of the porphyrin ligand further coordinating from the globin. So, is the imidazole nitrogen is from the amino acid side chain is coming. So, this is nothing but the nitrogen of the imidazole ring of the long polypeptide chain of the globin, which is bound from Y, and this particular X is responsible for binding water molecule or the oxygen when we are utilizing hemoglobin for respiration. So, when we have the hemoglobin form or the myoglobin form, we can have 2 different types of hemoglobin. One is the corresponding deoxyform, that means when it is not interacting with the dioxygen, is only coordinating to the water from the 6th site, and another form is known as the oxyform, when this water molecule from this position is replaced by dioxygen molecule. So, during respiration we need oxygen, and that oxygen is stored in our body and ultimately required for burning of the food material, for our energy and for ATP synthesis. But that starts from the very basic coordination chemistry of iron bound by the porphyrin ring and the globin chain. So, all 5 positions are occupied. So, only available position is the 6th site, and through that 6th site it is only interacting with the dioxygen molecule, giving interesting reactions related to the oxidation of food molecules. So, not only this hemoglobin which is present in our blood, but there are several other molecules are known as heme proteins. So, when we just consider these as the typical heme proteins, we can immediately say that one particular thing can be myoglobin, then hemoglobin, which are present in red blood cells. Then also we need cytochromes, which are present in electron transport chain, but they are also iron by settling between two oxidation states. The redox chemistry is involved, iron 2 and iron 3 is involved, and that is basically responsible for generating the electron transfer chain. Then we can have the nitric oxide synthase. So, nitric oxide in the biological system in our body also, if it is required, then these heme proteins are coming into the picture, they play some important role, and the catalases and peroxidases also where the heme proteins are present. So, there are large number of molecules available in the biological system where heme proteins are involved, and whenever simply we classify them as heme proteins, we will see that the iron is typically bound to the porphyrin ring. So, it is basically the corresponding chemistry of iron and porphyrin, and biosynthetic pathways are available where the porphyrin is synthesized in the living system, but in the laboratory also the chemically known molecules are there where we can find and we can synthesize the tetrapyrrole unit nicely, such that we can have the corresponding tetrapyrrole molecules which can bind to the iron system, and we characterize and we study the simple iron porphyrin system related to the corresponding heme proteins. So, that gives us a very important area which is known as the corresponding biocoordination chemistry under bioinorganic chemistry. So, whenever we talk about the corresponding biocoordination, so we should be talking about the corresponding ligands which are available in the living system. So, living system have some ligands. When it binds to the metal ion, we can consider that biogenic ligands, the ligands of biological origin is coming and binding to the metal system. So, there are some more important examples are there. The next one, the second one is well known to us is the chlorophyll, the green pigment, which is responsible for the photosynthesis in plants. So, this green photosynthetic pigment in the plants contains some chlorine ring. So, this is chlorine ring. So, compared to the porphyrin ring, we can have a different types of ring, but that is also a pyrrole system, but the connectivity is different. That is why it is binding a different metal center and it is showing some different type of reactivity. So, this is very much close to that particular tetrapyrrole unit, that means the porphyrin unit. So, now we can simply look at the corresponding difference, only this particular ring is the reduced ring. So, whenever we have some important observations for related to this, here also this particular important observations we can have. So, this is also containing NH and NH, that means this ligand can function as L2 minus through deprotonation, and nicely it can bind to a metal ion which can have a 2 positive charge. So, a bipositive metal ion can bind nicely to this particular system, and when one particular ring is different compared to the pyrrole unit, that means when we reduce this thing, that means we are reducing the corresponding rigidity of the macrocyclic structure. So, already we have put some extra rigid structure to this, because this we can some idea about the corresponding macrocyclic ring what we have discussed earlier, that if this ring is not there, this ring and this ring. So, if 4 rings are there not there, so from the tetraamine system we can also have a corresponding macrocyclic ring. But once we put these rings, the system is getting more and more rigid structure, and that rigid structure is responsible for some photochemical activation of these things also. And once compared to the porphyrin ring, if we can have some reduced structure of this particular position, so we can have some different types of orientation of this particular ring, because here also we can have some suitable substitutions on these positions of the pyrrole ring. So, the actual structure of this is completely different for this, because not only this chlorine ring. So, this this chlorine ring is there, and in presence of this photosynthesis it is binding to a main group metal ion. It is not binding to the typical transition metal ion like iron in hemoglobin and myoglobin, but it is binding to the magnesium. But still it is colored. So, the color is not due to the presence of magnesium, it is due to the presence of these all other rings which are present in this particular organic molecule, because organic molecules are sometimes colored. They can have the different type of transitions, the pi star and n pi star type of transitions. So, when we have this magnesium, initially we can consider that it can have some interaction, because these two nitrogens through the protonation of these nitrogens are charged. So, the charge is there which is n minus, and this is also n minus, and due to that charge interaction we can consider the magnesium can have a coordination number of 2 sitting nicely inside this particular pocket. So, what happens when a tetrapyrrole unit is coming to us, we can have some initial binding from 2 of these nitrogens, then all 4 nitrogens start interacting with the metal center, but in actual sense these 2 nitrogens are also show some bonding interactions with the magnesium, because the pocket is there, and once it is fitted within the pocket, these 2 nitrogens are also showing some interactions, and ultimately we can get the corresponding structure where the presence of magnesium enhances the rigidity of the entire molecule. So, not only this is a tetrapyrrole system, but also we can have in this particular side where we just basically get the corresponding nitrogen which is basically here, and we have a cyclopentanone ring. So, attached to this porphyrin, only one of these porphyrin where we do not have the corresponding substitutions, we have a cyclopentanone ring and we have some ether backbone also. So, this cyclopentanone ring is also enhancing the corresponding rigid structure of this. So, this particular rigidity of the molecule is responsible for light absorption, because the photosynthesis is basically a photochemical reaction where H nu is activating for one sort of electron transfer from this particular system to the reduction for the carbon dioxide. So, this particular type of binding for a non-redox system. So, if there is any electron transfer, it is not due to the presence of this metal ion. So, this particular system basically is responsible for absorbing the light energy. It is most suitable for absorbing the typical light in the form of H nu, and it converts to the chemical energy. So, the coercion chemistry, the metal and the ligand system is also responsible for light harvesting. What we call that it can absorb some amount of light energy, and the absorption of light energy is only dependent on the metal ion coordination, because the free backbone, the free ligand is not showing that activity for light absorption, and only it is specific to some metal ion which is magnesium, and synthetically prepared, which we can prepare in the laboratory, and substitution of this metal ion by some other metal ion also showed that they can show some amount of light absorption, that means the spectroscopic properties they can show. But in the living system where the plants are utilizing the photosynthetic green pigment for light absorption in a particular wavelength, so, and that particular wavelength is responsible for the green color of the leafy material. So, all the leaves are green. So, this green material, the green part is coming out. So, other part, the red part, it is absorbing, and that particular wavelength is responsible for the typical excitation. So, metal ion coordination to some biological ligand is responsible for light absorption in photosynthetic reactions. So, we will see some other type, that means the third category of these molecules, which is belongs to the vitamin B12, and vitamin B12 now contains a chlorine ring. So, we can have porphyrin, we can have the chlorine ring, and we can have now the chlorine ring. So, these are all just moving from one system to the other, and here also we see that the connectivity is again through the 4 pyrrole ring, and in some cases they are reduced, and this particular system, when we can have a different metal center is utilized to bind, and this is the corresponding cobalt system. So, we can have a different type of metal center, and we can have a different type of ligand for its coordination to give us a vitamin system. So, we have these particular rings. So, this is fully reduced ring, and the nature of this we can compare with the porphyrin, because the structure would be definitely different when it is in the free state. That means, when it is not bound to the metal ion. In the free state it has a different structure, and this particular connectivity is also different. We do not have the methine connectivity, this carbon is not there, is a direct connectivity between these two 5-membered heterocyclic nitrogen bearing rings. And this connectivity is making or giving us some smaller cavity size between these 4 nitrogen, and we can have one NH group is available only. So, basically this ligand can function as L1 minus, and the structure is also different. So, it can have some different binding potential to the metal ion cobalt, and when it is binding to the cobalt center, and most of the reactions we get which is based on the cobalt 1, because it is providing only one negative charge, but the entire connectivity of the system is pretty complicated, because in case of porphyrin, in case of myoglobin, we have the corresponding vinyl substitutions, we can have the corresponding propionic acid side groups, but here the biosynthetic route is little bit complex to give us some pendant groups which are there on the substitution positions of the pyrrole ring as the corresponding amide functions. So, most of them are amide. So, 6 of these positions are amide functions, then we can have the dimethyl functions. Here also we can have the methyl substitution. So, it is pretty crowded molecule, but the living organisms do synthesize in our system. So, nature is taken certain course of reactions where it can be synthesized nicely within our system, within our living system, and like myoglobin, it also binds to a nitrogen heterocycle which is benzimidazole, not the imidazole, but it is a benzimidazole moiety. So, again the 5th position is coordinated through some chain type of thing, it is already connected to the ring through some phosphate backbone and the sugar unit. The phosphate backbone and the sugar unit is controlling the corresponding binding to the imidazole ring, and the 6th position, like the O2 binding to the iron center in blood, this R is a typical one which we get most of the cases. The corresponding compound is known as cobalamin, and in the cobalamin, if this is bound to a methyl function, the methyl group is known as the methyl cobalamin function, where we can have the strictly the carbon group of the methyl group is directly bound to the cobalt center, giving a corresponding, this is the nitrogen of benzimidazole group. So, what we get here is basically a cobalt carbon bond also, and the metal carbon bond we all know that it is the corresponding organometallic fragment. this organometallic fragment. So, this is the nature's first organometallic compound which we are finding in vitamin B12, and most of these reactions what is basically we are getting, these are dominated by the corresponding cobalt methyl function. So, this has also catalyzing some important reactions such as the formation of the corresponding methyl mercury compounds, because these compounds are easily formed, then corresponding methyl arsenic compounds. These compounds are all catalyzing through this particular type of vitamin B12 or the B12 like molecules. So, they do catalyze the corresponding conversion of typical metal salts, because these are the corresponding salts. This is can be the corresponding mercury chloride, this can be corresponding arsenic oxides or the corresponding in situ generated chlorides, and they are immediately converted through the use of any methyl cobalamin type of catalyst to the corresponding methyl version of the metal ions. So, these are therefore some interesting group of molecules which can catalyze number of reactions, particularly some reactions which can take place also in our body. So, the chemistry which is going on in our body, so it can hamper basically some biochemical pathways also. So, it is well known to us that it is the water soluble vitamin compound for availability is very much required. It is also used as a medicine. When we have the shortage of this vitamin, we should be supplemented by use of vitamin B12 or the cobalamin. So, some well known brands of vitamin tablets and capsules are available which contains cobalamin. So, because they are required for the normal functioning of brain. When there is shortage, there is some abnormality in the brain functioning, our nervous system. So, very important reaction systems are there, and the formation of the blood. The formation of the myoglobin and hemoglobin molecules are also catalyzing by the presence of this important cobalt compound, that the cobalt coordination compound of a good biologically available ligand, which is our Corin ligand. So, next we will just proceed for the nomenclature of these coordination compounds. So, the next part of today's lecture we just devote to the corresponding nomenclature, how we name a typical coordination compound, because we can have a corresponding species which is made up of the metal and several ligands will be there, L can be there, L prime can be there, and which is X and which is can be Y, and within square bracket we consider it the corresponding, this is basically the corresponding complex entity. So, how we name the complex entity systematically within a metal complex, that we will just see. So, how we name a particular coordination compound. So, once a simple compound is forming, how we just go for naming a typical coordination complex. So, what we do? We first focus our attention on the ligands, and ligands should be named in an alphabetical order. So, depending upon the name of the ligands, we should have a choice, and in alphabetical order we will just name one after another. So, this is during the naming, which would be completely different when we write in the formula, and that is also another task, that how we write a typical formula for a metal complex. So, once the ligands are named, we go for naming one after another ligands, then we go for naming the metal ions, and then we write down the oxidation state of the metal ions, and which is subscribed by the corresponding Roman numerals in the bracket. That means, if we have a corresponding oxidation state of iron as 2, we will write in Roman numeral that it is a giving us a corresponding metal complex in +2 oxidation state, or if it is a corresponding oxidation state of say manganese in +4, we will write in the Roman numeral within bracket after manganese that manganese is present in +4 oxidation state. So, some of these informations we can also find it in Wikipedia also, and these are very common and right informations. Everybody should have these informations nowadays, because whenever we are talking about something, we talk about some monodentate ligand. The most important and the most common ligand system is the monodentate ligand, which we see that copper what is available in our nature. So, how nature is giving us the copper, nature is not giving us copper as the copper metal. So, we do not go for mining to get the corresponding copper in the nature. So, we get some important compounds or important corresponding inorganic compounds like copper oxide, copper sulfides and all. And if we see that we get a corresponding compound like say copper carbonate, or sometimes we get as the basic copper carbonate, that means copper carbonate, copper hydroxide double salt. So, if these are there and if we dissolve them in hydrochloric acid, we get a corresponding salt of copper chloride. So, what we see that copper chloride, so long it is in the salt structure and we are not getting this as the corresponding interactions. So, we do not have any idea about whether the Cl minus groups. So, these Cl minus groups are the most important monodentate ligand system which is also charged. So, this can go and bind to the copper and giving rise to a corresponding copper chlorine bond, but in such other cases we find that if it can have some x number of water of crystallizations, if x number of water of crystallizations are present, we immediately end up with some other form of this salt which we will write as bound water molecules, which is like this, and we will be writing the corresponding chlorides outside the coordinate sphere. So, we get that is not having some copper chlorine bond. So, copper chlorine bond is not there, instead we have copper oxygen bond. So, depending upon its coordination number of water molecules bound to copper, we have the copper oxygen bond. So, what we see that if we can make this, that means this particular species which is present as this one, that means we can go for its corresponding anhydrous form. That means this water will be lost. So, if we just go for the corresponding anhydrous form and we just supply some amount of say hydrochloric acid or the corresponding potassium chloride or any other salt, whether we should be able to form a corresponding compound like CuCl4, which will have 2 negative charge, and if potassium chloride is supplied, we will be getting as K2CuCl4 salt. Now, water is not present, and since 4Cl is there which cannot be present as the corresponding anions outside the coordinate sphere. So, all 4 copper chloride groups can be bound to the copper center, and this can be a very good example for the corresponding coordination compound where we can have the monodentate coordination of Cl minus. So, not only this Cl, but also we can have the fluoro, bromo, iodo. So, all these things. So, whenever we are talking about some typical metal salts, we should concentrate our attention on the corresponding species what is present depending upon the number of species which is surrounding the metal center, that means the coordination number. If 4 of these Beer groups are there, Beer minus are present, we get a corresponding tetrabromo complex. Similarly, from water derived species we can have 2 such, hydroxo and oxo. When CN is bound, we name it as cyano. When CN is bound through carbon, we got is isocyano. Thiosulfato, sulfato through oxygen, nitrito or nitro, and this is nitrito and O and nitrito. So, these are the 2 forms which is bound through nitrogen, we call it nitro. When it is bound through oxygen, it call it as nitrito. That we will see when we will study the isomerism, the linkage isomerism basically. Similarly, this thiocyanate anion can bind through sulfur and it can bind through nitrogen, and we can have 2 different types of nomenclature. In one case we will consider it as thiocyanato, in other case we will consider them as isothiocyanato. So, linkage isomerism also we will discuss, and in that particular case the nomenclature of the compound will define whether the metal center is typically bound through sulfur or through nitrogen. So, this is a part of the list what we can have for the charged ligands. Then we can have the neutral monodentate ligands. As we all the time we see that ammonia is a very good ligand, very old ligand and very useful ligand to bound to a particular metal center for forming large number of corresponding metal nitrogen bonds. That means the amine complexes are plenty, particularly the father of quantum chemistry Alfred Werner studied all these reactions starting from these amine ligands. So, whenever we have the typical metal salt like the corresponding ferric chloride or ferrous chloride salts, we see that depending upon the hydration, number of hydration, we see that the water molecules are bound to the metal center. So, the ACO ligands were initially present, then addition of ammonia gives us the corresponding substitution of ACO ligands by amines. Then carbon monoxide can bind to the metal center giving the corresponding carbonyl ligands. Then nitric oxide also, and related to amine we can have the methylamine and pyridine. So, these are the some list of neutral monodentate ligands. We can also have seen that the abbreviated form of ethylene diamine. So, in the formula we will not write the big name of ethylene diamine, we will abbreviate it as EN. Similarly, the charged ligand which is bidentate also, the oxalate anion from the oxalic acid which binds to the metal center through 2 oxygen atoms are known as the corresponding oxalato group. Similarly, ethylene diamine tetraacetic acid, on ethylene diamine backbone if we substitute all 4 hydrogens by 4 acetic acid substrates, then we get the corresponding ethylene diamine tetraacetic acid, and in the anionic form when 4 of them are deprotonated we get ethylene diamine tetraacetato coordination. So, what we see next, then ligand, then metal centers, and how we find out the corresponding oxidation states. So, balancing the entire molecule we get the corresponding oxidation state. So, what we see therefore that we are taking a very useful example of cobalt compound which we prepare from cobalt 2 chloride by the addition of ammonia. So, excess ammonia when we put, and if we start from cobaltous chloride and in presence of activated charcoal we pass air or we add hydrogen peroxide. So, addition of hydrogen peroxide or passing of air can oxidize this cobalt to cobalt 3. So, we have hexaamine cobalt 3. So, this particular thing, that means how we assign the oxidation state of this as +3, because this compound will be known as the hexaamine cobalt 3 chloride. So, if the charge on this, because we have started our journey, we have started this reaction to make this particular compound from cobaltous chloride. So, through oxidation of this and additional chloride supply will give you this corresponding compound as Cl3. So, if we just measure the corresponding solution electrical conductivity or the molar conductance, that means lambda m. So, lambda m value will be different, which will be corresponding to 1:3 electrolyte type, and that value will tell us that it has 3 chloride anions outside the coordinate sphere, and the corresponding oxidation state of this cobalt center is in +3. So, if we have a corresponding oxidation state, that means the charge, this particular charge we should assign, and cobalt then be designated as cobalt 3 in Roman numeral. So, the name of this cationic species will be, therefore, the cobalt 3 when we assign as cobalt 3, which will be hexaamine cobalt 3. If 3 chloride anions are outside, the full name of the compound would be hexaamine cobalt 3 chloride. Similarly, if this is there where 6 cyanide anions are bound to this iron site, and when it is bound to this iron site and depending upon the charge the cyanide anion is providing, that means it is providing 6 anionic charge, and this particular iron can have 2 oxidation states, one is +2, another is +3. In this particular case, if 3 potassium cations are required for charge neutralization, the iron oxidation state should be +3. If 4 are required, the iron oxidation state would be +2. One is known as ferrocyanide, another is known as ferricyanide. So, in this particular case, the name of the compound will be potassium hexacyanoferrate, because we are naming this particular part as the anionic part, and the anionic part will be named as the corresponding Latin name with some ending, that means suffix as -ate with the corresponding oxidation states in bracket. Similarly, when we have the mixed ligands, instead of 6 amine ligands, we can have 4 amine and 2 chlorine inside, and assignment of the oxidation state of the metal center is important. And since 4 of these amine groups are present, we get the corresponding ligands as tetraamine. Alphabetically, we are writing A first, then dichlorocobalt 3 chloride. So, tetraamine dichlorocobalt 3 chloride is the corresponding naming for the required species, where the cobalt center is present in the +3 oxidation state. Then we just change, that means instead of all amine functionality on iron, around iron, we change 1 to NO, the nitric oxide gas. That NO is present in some different form also through some internal electron transfer. This NO can be present as the corresponding charge as NO plus. So, this is as NO plus, this iron is Fe2 plus. So, we can have overall balance with the 3 chloride anions. So, iron will be present is in +2 oxidation state. So, this is the well known Brown ring test we can have, where we can have the water molecules over here and the in situ generation of nitric oxide from the nitric acid will bind to the iron center, and Brown ring compound we know it can be formed, which is a test for nitrate and nitrite anions. But immediately this NO is forming or transforming to the corresponding NO plus. That is why the assignment of this oxidation state is important, and it depends on the corresponding nature of the NO. So, this particular molecule will be named as pentaamine nitrosyl iron 2 chloride. Similarly, one more example is that where like NO we just go for the corresponding carbon monoxide. 6 such carbon monoxide molecules can bound to the chromium center, since carbon monoxide molecules are all neutral and we do not have anything outside the coordinate sphere, that means outside the square bracket. So, that means your chromium center is in the 0 oxidation state. So, the chromium 0 also can give rise to the metal complex, where carbon monoxide can nicely bind to the chromium center. So, not only this mononuclear species, there are large number of multinuclear species are also present, and that multinuclear species can have several types of these carbon monoxide ligands. So, in one case we can have this carbon monoxide where all the 6 CO molecules are binding to the chromium center in monodentate fashion. In some other case we can have the bridging carbon monoxide, and some spectroscopic techniques are also available which can identify the nature of the carbon monoxide not only in the mononuclear species, but also in some polynuclear or the carbonyl cluster molecules. So, the name of this compound through the assignment of chromium oxidation state as 0 would be hexacarbonyl chromium 0. It is also a very good starting material for different types of chromium compound, different types of organometallic chromium compound where chromium 0 oxidation state is utilized. Then vanadium can also give rise to similar type of carbonyl compound, but the corresponding charge on the vanadium is different, which is V1 minus. Vanadium can be, this particular one can be because it is balancing the corresponding potassium charge as K plus. So, this is the corresponding anionic part, vanadium bearing part is the anionic part where carbon monoxide is neutral. Therefore, the vanadium is in the +1 oxidation state, which will be known as potassium hexacarbonyl vanadate 1 minus. So, it is a potassium salt, and like chromium it also has 6 carbonyl compounds, 6 carbonyl molecules surrounding the vanadium in octahedral geometry. Then the last example of this series is that nitrosyl of more number, here nitrosyl was present with 1 number. When 3 nitrosyl is present along with 1 carbonyl, we get the corresponding compound, and manganese is present in -3 oxidation state, which is trinitrosyl carbonyl manganese -3. So, the manganese is getting some electron, which is the back bonding from the carbon monoxide and the nitrosyl, because all these nitrosyls they are NO plus. So, that electron is basically dumping over the manganese. So, manganese is basically accommodating the corresponding more number of electrons. So, manganese is present in the -3 oxidation state, that means 3 extra electrons are transferred to the manganese site. So, one more example we will just see, and which will continue to our next class also, that is a very good example where the ligands which are present within the iron site is that CN and the NO. So, 2 types of ligands are present which is bound to the iron site, and for the typical charge balance, if we consider this NO as the NO plus, we get the corresponding compound of this, and how we just go for this particular compound, that will continue to our next class. So, we have this iron and we have 6 coordination sites, and these 6 coordination sites will all be occupied by CN, and one of them will be occupied by NO. So, the assigning of this iron oxidation state is important, that we will discuss, and that we will discuss how we can assign the corresponding oxidation state on the NO, and what should be the corresponding charge on this particular species, that how many anions or how many cations will be there following or preceding the corresponding complex species, that we will try to find it out. So, that gives us the entire formula of the compound, and that will also straight line the corresponding naming of the compound. Okay, thank you.